Here we go, episode 3, Hanging with Homie. I am Harding, that's Homie, and you are hanging with Homie just like I am. We're doing this one a little early because I am moving out of my place, leaving California, possibly for good, I don't know, but I'm hitting the road Saturday, and so it's a Thursday night when we're laying this down, and you've already brought up a ton of topics in the pre-show notes. I don't really know where to start, but I think we'll get through at least half of this stuff.
I think we will too, but before we dive into any of it, I didn't know if you felt comfortable sharing your story about the move, where you're going, why you're going. I don't know if that's something you wanted to discuss or not.
There's a lot. Let's discuss it. You brought it up. I'm an open book. We try to be as honest as we can on this show about what's going on. Like, look at my man. He's in his bedroom, okay? You can tell because there's pillows in his bed. So I'm in the kitchen, and we're bringing the raw bone, as the Sklar brothers would say.
Dude, I cleaned this place. This is the only clean room in my apartment. You should see the living room, the kitchen. Forget about the laundry room. That place is a wreck. Man. But I do this for the Hangin' with Homie listeners, and I do it for you.
I do it for the people, man.
Let's go.
So, one of the notes, sidebar, that you brought up in the show notes was Splash Mountain is shutting down.
Yeah.
And now I'll say it's been very problematic because what they did is they took the characters from the old ride they had called, like, or it wasn't a ride, but like a show called Song of the South. And it's pretty racist. Like, it just is. And so you can go and do your own research on that. But you mentioned that people were selling water from the last ride. And I live like 5 miles from Disneyland. So I should have gone over there and filled up gallon jugs and started selling it on eBay. Because when you mentioned it to me, it was at $150. I've seen it going for $1,000 on eBay.
Golly, that's just crazy, dude. So if I'm asking our listeners here, if you're a huge fan of that ride, which I'll speak for me, I never understood that there were elements of racism involved. I never really dove deep like that. I just kind of took the ride for what it was, and I always enjoyed it with all the different animatronics and the characters and the music. And so honestly, Dave, I never really even knew about that. So I didn't understand how problematic it was, which would ultimately lead to it being kind of dismantled or rebranded, rather. I read that they're going to turn it into a ride based around The Princess and the Frog. I think it was from like 2009, and this ride's been around since 1989.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been here a long time, but I know, and I don't want to jump and say it's getting canceled. I think people have evolved and have realized, hey, that was, deemed appropriate at the time, and let's evolve. Let's move on. Look, we all didn't want the Twilight Zone ride. I can't even remember what it's called. The Tower of Terror.
Right.
That
got rebranded
changed
to the Guardians.
And I'm like, there wasn't even a problem. It was just keeping up with the times. What's a popular movie? And you know what? That ride is still cool.
The question that I was getting into, and I'll issue this question to you as well as our listeners. Would you go on eBay and buy water from the last day of this Splash Mountain ride? Because again, $150, you're seeing them for $300. People are just on the ride with a cup of water.
It's dirty water.
That's just crazy to me. Yeah.
It's dirty. Well, that's dangerous, by the way, to be like cupping the water at any part of the ride. It's dangerous.
And people out there are going to drink it like on camera. No.
Well, you remember the whole, I don't know if it was, I can't put this on a platform. It's not that it was like Patreon or OnlyFans specifically, but there were these, let's call them cam girls or streamers that were bottling up their bath water and selling it on eBay. Do you remember that?
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. And there are countless videos of people that purchased this said bathwater, and some of them even drank it on camera. That's why I'm like, yo, what is going on here? Like, that's a trip to the clinic, bro.
So it's not unprecedented. Obviously, you didn't just pull that one out of thin air. You had seen it before, and yeah, if people want the clout and they want the views, they're probably going to do something silly like that with the water, and they're not going to keep it jarred up.
Yeah, it's weird, dude. I was just there just a few months ago, Disneyland, and one of the things I told the lady was, we have to ride Splash Mountain. There's just something about the environment and the animatronics, and I just love that classic Disney stuff. The flip side of that coin is, I don't really know much about the Princess and the Frog, but this is what the ride is going to be themed around now. I am curious, however, to kind of see, how it gets rethemed and rebooked per se. It could be cool, but I think there's a lot of people out there that are kind of just like, damn, this is a ride that I've been enjoying for years and years. And it's not so much that it's gone. It's just going to be colored in a different way, right?
It's just rebranded. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, think of all the stuff that left the park before we even were old enough to go, that we didn't even realize was gone.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So
I just found out that they're also getting rid of the Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster, which was one of my favorites, bro. But lucky for me, and if what I read on the internet's true, this is going to be rebranded as an Iron Man ride. So that could be kind of dope.
Dude, you love Tony Stark. You were texting me, I want to be Tony Stark when I grow up. And I was like, well, I don't see why not.
Well, dude, I got home last night after my air shift, and randomly I just popped back in Iron Man 1. I think it's because I was watching this YouTube series. And it was called SHIT Show. And it was just about like the making and how things came to be and like the backstory. And I was like, damn, this is kind of cool. And they were like getting really insightful about Iron Man. And I was like, damn, you know what? I miss Tony Stark. Let me pop in Iron Man 1 because there's nothing better, dude. It's so good. And that's when I text you and I was like, bro, I need to be a little bit more like Tony Stark because he's just the coolest dude that there's ever been.
Well, I think the show goes well and we get rich. You'll be on your way, bro.
Right. Well, okay. So on the topic of Splash Mountain, the new ride, and I can't remember what they're going to call it. Again, themed after The Princess and the Frog, is going to open sometime in 2024. I think it was Tiana's something or other, but we got to wait another year for that. And then I think people will be able to decide which they think is better.
We'll have to go back. Tiana's Bayou.
Yes, that's right.
Right. Yeah, I saw that movie, I remember, a while back when it came out in theaters. I think it was a date. Yeah, I went on a date to go watch that, yep.
Ooh, how'd the date go?
It went good, yeah. Ended up being somebody I dated for a long time. So,
dude, let's go.
Yeah, it was good.
So in 2024, people will be able to decide which one is better once this ride becomes available. A big internet debate going down right now, Dave. Speaking of who's better, and I really wanted to get your thoughts on this because nobody loves basketball more than you, at least out of the people that I know. But there's this big 1996 Bulls versus the Kevin Durant 2017 Golden State Warriors in an NBA Finals. Which team would win the championship and why? And I wanted to bring you this question because a lot of the takes on TikTok or Instagram, wherever you're watching, it's kind of like, this is who would win. But there actually isn't anything behind it to support it. I know in my heart who I think would win, just because what decade I love. But I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Who would win in a series, the 96 Bulls or the 17 Golden State Warriors in a best of 7?
Okay. Well, I'm going to just base this on one. I didn't get into it, but I go deep in the rabbit holes on Instagram, NBA Instagram. And there's a lot of videos now coming out of people snitching on guys who are traveling. There's a whole guy on Twitter who's he's like the NBA official snitch. It's kind of funny. It's like guys will carry the ball. He's like, oh, palmed it. Pause. That's a travel. Oh, that's another travel. And I saw this move by James Harden doing a step back. And I'm like, that's definitely travel. But,
dude, he'll take 3-4 different whoop, whoop.
Okay. This is what I thought. But a couple people were like, no, you just think you're right, this and that. And you just want to, it's 2 steps after the gather. And I'm like, what is this gather? So I look, and in 2018, the NBA changed their rule. So these 2 step backs, you're basically getting 3 steps now, which is what
3.
Yeah. But the NBA makes it so it's a legal move. So I looked and then I responded. I said, you know what? I was out of date. I was 2018. I didn't get the update. I didn't get the download of the new software. My 2023 NBA knowledge is skewed. But yes, this move is a legal move. So now it's legal, right? Now, in the spirit of the game, which I couldn't get into longer, I'm not going to do a whole back and forth on Instagram. It's a travel. I've never
100%.
been able to do this, gather the ball with 2, then take 2 more steps. No, the gather used to be part of the step. And then you had 1 more step to make your move, pivot, whatever. But now you can gather, stop, and take 2 more steps. So it's now a legal move. I'm saying all this because the 2017 Warriors came before this move. And I think, Steph makes some pretty incredible moves, but a lot of what he does definitely pushed the NBA to allow this to go through because they want more people to watch. It's a highlight culture we live in.
It's a little more entertaining, right?
It's more entertaining. People love the moves. I mean, look, they're not, I wouldn't call them legal, even though by the letter of the law, they now are. And I say that because if it was the 2018 or 19 Warriors who had a 73-9 record versus 72-10, 96 Bulls, then, you've got this new non-travel rule. I think the Warriors have the edge. But since they came before that rule, if you're going to really enforce the rules, I think the Bulls beat them up and probably win in 5 or 6 games because like Kevin Durant and Steph are going to get, and Clay, they're going to get bullied out there. Like
they're clamped up. They're not moving.
They're not, and their hand checks are legal. Even Jordan is a bully. Like if you just look at the size of both of those teams, like Durant has the length, but not the strength. Everybody on that Bulls team, even down to like the bench. I mean, look, Kerr is probably as a player a lot more similar to Steph's build.
Right.
So I just think the Bulls are going to win on muscle and just, nobody's going to stop Jordan running the lane or you're going to rack up 6 fouls.
And nobody's going to outboard Rodman, not even close.
No, and the height doesn't matter. And I brought up that point about traveling because you're not going to get to pull off all these moves in the real NBA before 2018. Those are travels. I mean, it's obvious. It's not like a close one. It's obvious. So the Bulls, to me, they have the edge because they won all these games in a physical era without a bunch of 3-point shooters.
Physical era. I want to dive into that. I wanted to follow up my original question with, would it matter what time period that the game took place? So say you plucked the Bulls out of 96 and you dropped them into 17 and the way the game is then and, advances, whatever, or if you plucked the Warriors out of 17 and threw them back into the 90s, do you think that could have like some sort of say in the outcome of the game, or is it just basketball is basketball?
Well, that's a really interesting point because if you pull the Warriors back to 96, they don't get to 73-9. I think they can still get to the finals, but they're not going to have a record like that because you're not playing the game the same way. You have to earn your buckets. Your 3-point plays are not all behind the line. You got to get to the rack.
Yeah.
If you flip it around and you bring the Bulls to this era, I think they still have a harder time getting to 72-10 because so many teams can get hot and just shoot the ball. And if you're just hitting threes at a rate like the Warriors are, then you're just going to have a hard time defending that. At some point, you can't defend everybody shooting the 3.
No, you can't.
So what it comes down to is, do you think that Michael Jordan and Pippen and Rodman on the floor can take Clay and Steph and Durant? So if they equaled each other out, then who are the other players in there? You got like a Luke Longley and a Tony Kukoc, and then you got an older but still good Andre Iguodala, and I'm trying to think of the other, 2017 guys like a Harrison Barnes or somebody on the Warriors there. Those are the guys that have to step it up, right? And Tony Kukoc is basically the best player in Europe. You're just dropping him onto the Bulls.
Yeah.
So I still think you got to give the advantage to the Bulls. They're just more physical. If it was just a shooting contest, then I think the Warriors have the edge.
Right. But this is an actual game of basketball, and you broke it down so perfectly.
Yeah.
My take on this is I would give the Warriors maybe one game, but I just think the overall Bulls, the starting five, the bench, I think it would just be overwhelming. I think to take the word you used, bullied. They would just get bullied. Yeah, just get literally just pushed around, and the Warriors, they don't have the strength to match up. So I'm going Bulls too. And dude, I'm so glad I asked you that, because I knew you could like break it down and not just be biased, not just say, well, just because. You could actually break it down kind of like, well, based on my understanding of the game, this is why I think this would happen, and this is how I think it's going to go. I think that, dude, that was cool.
Yeah, I just think you get into a shootout with the Warriors, you're probably not going to win. But that's not how the game was played in the mid to late 90s. And, dude, imagine if Jordan came up drafted in the same class as Steph or someone. He would eat people alive.
Yeah.
Because
it's just a special tenacity, dude, that he has.
You watch Lean Jordan, before he was like, all right, the Pistons beat me up, I'm going to put on some bulk. Lean Jordan would have been a problem for the Warriors. And then he decided, nah, I'm going to get muscles. And then he was just double three-peats. I mean, that's all I got to say. I know we got away from me moving. We will talk about that.
Yeah.
But I love talking about the 90s Bulls.
Yeah, and I miss that era of basketball. I miss that 2000s era too. I miss like the inside out basketball rather than the outside in that we get now. And
Kobe and Shaq. I mean, Garnett and Paul Pierce, the big the Boston 3 party.
Yeah, I think, gosh, man, I don't really keep up with it like I used to, but I think like my last favorite player was Dwight Howard.
Dwight?
Yeah, I loved how he played, dude. Just go up and get it, slam it down, blocking shots out into the 5th, 6th row. I loved watching Superman play. He was just so electrifying. And I don't know, he's kind of like the last, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you do know more about basketball than I do. He's kind of like the last real big man, is he not?
Well, I mean, from a playing style, yeah.
Playing style is what I mean.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, size-wise, too, if you look at some of the clips that I've been seeing posted on Instagram, because we're getting closer to the All-Star break, of Dwight playing in the McDonald's All-American game. As a high schooler, he looked like a man. He looked like
he did
30. It's like that clip from Bad Boys 2. It's like, you look 30.
Yeah.
And he's just dunking on people, sitting next to...
It's the shoulders. They're just so wide. And it's like, when he fully filled out that frame, it was like, guy is built like a Greek god. Like, get out the way.
And he had a finals run with the Magic. They went to the finals, and I don't know who they played. I got to look it up. But he had a finals run. I can't remember
either. Yeah, and then I do know that deservedly, Dwight finally got his championship ring as a part of that. What was it, the 2020 Lakers team when they were playing in the bubble and all that?
Yep.
Yeah, and dude, he balled out. He was a beast. Just boxing people out and grabbing boards and going back up with 2 hands and just like, almost taking the rim down. I love that kind of basketball. That's why Shaq's probably my all-time favorite player, and that's why I said my, last favorite star player was probably Dwight Howard. But dude, look what's going on behind you.
They played the Lakers.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. That was the year before, or no, that was the year after the Celtics won. So
okay.
Celtics win, Lakers win. So the Lakers played in 3 straight. They lost to the Celtics, right. They beat the Magic, then they beat the Celtics.
That was when Kobe was teamed up with Pau Gasol.
Mark and Pau Gasol. That's our remix to Drop It Like It's Hot. We'll do it one day, a real video, Mark and Pau Gasol.
So, dude, I used to love Andrew Bynum. What happened, dude? Because he was a bit,
I also, again, I'm in the NBA Instagram sphere. There's this, there was one post about one-time All-Stars. Andrew Bynum pops up. I was like, oh yeah, he just never... Injuries just plagued his career. So
and they brought that up a ton in that. I think it was on Hulu. It was like a Lakers look back.
The
it was
Lakers
like
doc, yep.
Yeah, dude. The episode with Bynum, I thought that was so interesting. How he was just, who was it? Jerry Buss, or what's the one of the
Jerry
sons'
West?
Names? No,
Oh.
I know Jerry West. He's the guy on the logo.
The logo, man. You talking about one of the Buss family, or
one of the sons? Yeah, it was like that. Like Andrew Bynum was like his project. Like he wanted to draft him no matter what. So nobody really had a choice. So
he had potential. I mean, and then you got Kareem to coach him.
Yeah,
the only thing that stopped him was injuries.
You can't ask for a better coach than that.
Oh, okay. But back to what's happening. So behind me,
you told me that before we started recording that the fridge was empty.
Dude, look, there's no more magnets.
Man,
strip the magnets.
Moving is the worst. If you're hearing this right now, I'm sure you can agree. Any type of moving is the absolute worst. I hate it.
It's, it's not fun. I'll say that. Just that's the best. The best I can say is it's not fun. The best outcome is that I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff, and that feels so good. I've made like 6 trips to Goodwill. My neighbor, Gina, I've brought over nice things to her. I took a photo of this elephant. It's a nice big canvas. And I was like, hey, do you want this? Would you hang this? Yeah. And I brought her over a drum I got in Ghana. And I was like, look, you can have all the nice stuff. She's like, yeah, like give me the nice things. I sold her my TV, my TV stand. But I'm packing up. It'll be almost a full year having lived in Southern California. I put it on my bucket list back in 2017. I said, I want to live here. At some point, I got to know, because I lived in NorCal. You lived with me up there for a while.
Shout out to Santa Clara one time.
The gay area. So I know what that's like, and I just needed to know what SoCal, not LA per se, although I worked there a bunch. And now I know what it's like, and I can say that I did it, and I'm moving on to Gulf Shores, Alabama.
From what I understand, is like a pretty exciting opportunity, no?
Yeah, it's going to be a content startup with a buddy of mine who pitched me a year ago. And so I took the full year to think about it, and then he pitched me again, because I go down there for Thanksgiving to meet up with my family every year. And he's like, what do you think, man? I built the studio. I got this and that. And I said, it's a pretty good pitch. You're putting on the full court press. Like, he's like, yeah, this is how he got me, okay? He goes, I just haven't had a Dave. And I was like, man.
Everyone needs a Dave, bro. It's real.
And he said that. I was like, man, all right. I'm like, that's okay. That's pretty good. Stroke the ego enough. I'll bite. And it's going to be really inexpensive to live, because now I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to pay Spectrum, which I just canceled today. So no internet bill, no electric bill.
They'll gouge you, dude.
They'll
gouge you.
Dude, they were just like, but do you want to stay with Spectrum? I'm like, no, I'm like moving. They're like, I know, but we can set you up again. I'm like, yeah, but it's my friend's thing. Well, do you have any family staying behind? No, like I said, it was just me, and now no one else lives here. But is there anyone else? I'm like, no, I just told you there's no one else. The new person's moving in. Oh, okay. Do they have Spectrum? I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to ask them. Do you want me to leave you their number? Jeez.
Oh my goodness, man. They're just relentless.
It's like they're like vampires. Like if you invite them in, they never leave.
No. So you were saying that you visited down there quite a bit to visit family and stuff. So like, how familiar are you with the area that you're going to be in?
Very familiar. Right down by the Floribama, the international bar that if you know it, you know it well. If you don't know it, you're like, what the heck are you talking about, Dave? Well, as soon as you come visit, you'll understand. It's an institution. They hold church service on Sunday. They have a membership that you can buy, so you don't have to pay cover on a busy night, which is cool. I think it's like, I don't know, $50, $100 for the year. And they have a gift shop. My cousin works in the back bar. Shout out to Ashley one time.
Ashley, what up?
And you can walk through the bar to the beach. On the other side is the ocean.
That's pretty cool.
It's literally on the Florida-Alabama line. So it's not a Florida-Georgia line, but it's a cool line. So
man,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for you. And I wish you nothing but, continued success. I know you're going to crush it down there, just like you were out in California freelancing. And it's true. Everybody needs a Dave. And don't worry, the show is going to continue no matter what.
This show will stay having a Dave.
Absolutely. And it'll stay having a JR.
We're both going to be here. And that's why, again, like I said at the beginning, we had to record this one early. I wanted to make sure we stayed on schedule. So by the time I get in the car, I know I've got this in the can and I'll be all set. So yeah, I'm moving. I'm uprooting. I'm out of here in, let's see, it's Thursday. So less than 48 hours. This will be no more. This is the last time,
man.
Last time you're going to see this setup. And get ready, everybody, for the road trip vlog. I'm going to be filming. That'll be cool. I'll probably try to throw a clip up when I get settled and we record our next episode.
Yeah. And before we dive into some of the stuff happening over on the radio side of things in the pop culture world, I kind of wanted to bring up just some of the feedback you've gotten from the show. I've got a bunch of positive feedback, funny feedback.
Love it.
Just a lot of different voice memos from friends, just kind of like, hey, that story you and Dave talked about reminded me of this. And then I'm listening to them and I'm just laughing and laughing.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. So the feedback has been awesome. So I'm really happy that y'all are enjoying the show, because this is something that Dave and I have talked about for a while. We just didn't exactly know what or I think the better word is how it would exist. And it was like, well, we can create, different types of videos for the channel. But then we're always calling each other multiple nights during the week, and we'll be on FaceTime for an hour, sometimes 2 hours, just doing creators therapy, because we're, two best friends for over 20 years and we understand each other so well, and we work, in similar fields. So we get it. And I've gotten a ton of really cool feedback, and I just kind of wanted to hear about, what kind of feedback you've gotten from folks.
I think they're excited that I'm doing a podcast. I haven't got as much feedback as you, but mostly a lot of, I didn't know you guys were like that close of friends. Because I've met some people in Nashville that you also know through the music industry, but I met them, whether it was like on a cruise or at some different location. They're like, yo, you mean JR? My homie JR? I was like, yeah. I'm like, that's like my best friend. They're like, no way. So now that they're seeing us on screen at the same time, they're putting two and two together. Oh, you guys don't just like casually know each other, like you've known each other forever.
Yeah.
So, people like the show. It looks crispy. It sounds crispy. It is crispy. I mean, that's what we do.
The beard looks pretty crispy right now. I'll tell you that.
Well, I was telling you before the show, it's weird because it's in 4K. So when I look at myself in the Zoom and the light moves, because it's trying to get all the pixels for Zoom, but Zoom only, I think, captures in like 1080 or 720. Right. You can see every little hair. Like I can see I have like a couple white hairs coming through, but I would pluck those.
It's glistening, dude. Just glistening, bro.
Yeah, I'm growing it out. Ryan, he's like, what are you doing with those pubes on your face?
What?
That's like, bro, it's the in-between phase. I gotta let it happen.
Yeah, I can't do the whole beard thing. I like to be clean shaven, baby face. Helps me feel young.
I'm a heel. All right.
You are, dude. I'm surprised you don't have the blonde on just the mustache like the Hogan, how he does it. Bro, if you did that for one of our shows, dog, I would love you forever.
Just shave everything. Or I could do like the soul patch of blonde.
That could be kind of cool.
The facial hair could get weird. I got too much to think about. I just at this point, my facial hair and my regular hair are just growing because I don't have time to go to the barbers.
Yeah, my hair's growing, just not in these two recessed points. I'm blessed with the family hairline. So I go in to get a haircut the other day, and it's this girl that I recently started to see because my hairdresser before jacked up the price to like $50 a cut before tip. So I'm like,
I thought you were going to say she jacked up the hairline. It's like, whoa, take it easy.
No. So she the price jacked up and I totally get it because of inflation. Like it's probably costing a lot more to have rent in the, building that she's in. But so I go see this girl that I've went to a couple of times. She does a, pretty decent job, and I was happy last time, but dude, this time she just went super high, super tight, rounded the top. There's no like structure. I can't pull these hairs up to try to hide. So I'm just fully exposed. But the tough part about it, Dave, is I don't even have a big wiener to make up for it. So I'm just double screwed, dog. Like, what is a man to do,
Well,
But I'm out here, bro.
I would say you're negative screwed if you don't have a big wiener. I don't think it's happening for you.
Anyway, over on the pop side of things, Justin Bieber just sold his entire music catalog. I think it was like 290 some odd songs for $200 million. And I'm going to read you this report from CNN.
That's a lot of bread.
Yeah, Justin Bieber has sold the rights to his publishing and artist royalties from his song catalog, adding himself to a growing list of pop stars who have inked rights deals. So Bieber sold his catalog to Hypnosis, I think it's pronounced. There's a random G in there that I can't really sound out, but the music rights investment company announced this week. Also, some younger artists like Bieber have also started to sell, like Imagine Dragons, and then you got people like Shakira as well that are selling off the rights to their music.
Shakira.
And it's so weird to me, Dave, because I'm thinking, like, if I'm Bieber, this is my life's work. You didn't get discovered on YouTube for nothing. You didn't become the biggest pop star in the world for nothing, and then just to sell off your life's work.
Well, that was interesting that you brought that up. I watched last night. I was looking for something to watch on Disney Plus, and there was this random documentary about YouTube. And part of the documentary was talking about Bieber and how Scooter Braun found him and said, we got to get this guy. And all the gatekeepers at the time were like, what do you mean, YouTube? This doesn't matter. And they did this performance of like one of his early songs outside of the Warner offices or Universal. I don't remember which one.
That's cool.
And there was a crowd of like couple hundred people. And every executive's looking out the window like, how did he do that off the strength of MySpace and YouTube?
Wow.
So your point's well taken. The guy invented a whole method of marketing, and now to just get a lump sum, that's all you get. But I think there's a little bit more to the story. If I'm reading it correctly, I would guess he still gets to perform the songs. So you can still tour. That was
one of the details.
Because that would make no sense. So now you got to ask permission. It's still like, look, it's Baby without Bieber is just Ludacris doing a quick rap, and then there's the beat. So like clearly, it's like, is this song?
It's a weird thing. Like I don't know, man. Coming from somebody that's also written and recorded music, obviously I never saw the kind of success that Justin Bieber did, but I like to think that if I had, there's no way that I could sell off my entire body of work like that. I kind of agree with Taylor Swift, like with that whole situation happening to her. She's doing the opposite thing. Girl is re-recording all of her albums so she can own all the rights to them. And that's kind of the side that I land on with this. If I'm Bieber, this is a bad move, but that's just how I feel, because I think I just really value just think about how many years, we've been listening to him, and he's been on the radio.
It's your whole life's work to this point. I'm just curious as to what's the motivation behind getting $200 million. What is that?
The motivation is the $200 million, right?
I know, but when you put it in perspective, 290 songs, that's less than $1 million a song.
Well, all right, do the math real quick. So 200 million, right, divided by 290.
Yeah, like it's already less than it's
what does that exactly work out to? I remember doing the math when I first read the story, but I can't remember.
I got to turn my phone sideways to do the big numbers.
Well, that's how you know he's making the big money.
You got to turn it sideways. 290 million divided by...
No, 200 million divided by 290.
See, this is why I was bad at math. I couldn't even remember the question.
Doug, was the worst in math, so.
Because I was like, why is it even? I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think it worked out to just under a million.
Yeah, like I said, it's about 690,000 a song.
Bro, you're telling me right now, Baby is worth $690,000. You're telling me that Beauty and the Beat. You're telling me that Never Say Never. You're telling me that, Sorry. What? No, man.
What?
290 songs? What? $200 million not worth it? What? It's just not enough. It's not enough to me, man.
It's got to make sense to him.
Yeah.
I don't know, but okay. Obviously, more is going to come of this. You got to stay tuned. I don't know where the news is going to come from, but there's got to be a greater reason, because I would just hold out longer. Yeah. Like, I was looking up earlier is Chris Brown is one of the youngest artists to own and did a new deal to own all of his masters in publishing.
Right. So he's on the other side of the fence. I just saw something about Chris Brown where I think he surpassed more Billboard hits or something than Elvis.
Dang. Yeah.
I know.
He has more Billboard Hot 100 entries than any contemporary male singer alive to date, with 160 consecutive weeks charting on the Hot 100.
That is out of control, dude.
He just lives on the chart. Yeah, so that was like, I was trying to find a point to base it on, because I know at some point too, Michael Jackson sold. Michael Jackson, I gotta look that up too. I just want to know. I think we're
gonna find out more as the days go by. But I think the biggest question that I have to wrap up this topic here is why right now, and why was that the right amount of money? Because Bieber's gonna continue making hit after hit after hit. So why not even hang on a little bit longer? And if you're going to do it anyway, try to get more. Maybe after one or two more albums that are just mega successful. Or is there a risk in that? Say he does release another album or two and they don't do as great as his previous. Does that kind of hurt the overall value of the catalog? I don't know.
Dang. Tough spot. We're going to definitely be talking about this again, because it's not finished. This deal might be done, but the whole story is not over. What's a movie you remember as a kid, but only you remember it? And I remember all the hits. You do.
Never
Ending Story. I was like, okay. Right. And you're like, well, everybody knows that. I'm like, well, okay. But that's when Fern Gully. Everybody knows that one.
Yeah.
Was that a show? No. That was a movie. And then Fraggle Rock. That was a show.
Bro, Mom tells me that when I was like a youngin', that was my absolute jam. I loved Fraggle Rock.
Dude, it was so sick.
And the music, so great. And the puppets. And it's just, that's great entertainment for a kid.
Bro, the thing I was trying to explain, I don't even know if it exists. I think it's some memory that's like really in there that's really messed up, and I just don't know. I just need to know if it was real or not. I don't care if it was. I just don't know anymore. Okay, Square One I confirmed is a real show. What I'm remembering, I don't think ever happened.
You're probably confusing some other show that you had seen with Square One and thought that was Square One.
I think I was watching like American Werewolf in Paris, and then suddenly I was watching Square One, and in my mind I had a dream, and I'm like, how can this be a kid's show? This werewolf is terrifying. You shouldn't be on this show.
Well, dude, Goosebumps was a kid's show, and those first couple of episodes with the green mask, if you recall those were absolutely terrifying, where you put on the mask and it gets stuck to your face.
And you can't get it. Yeah, you can't get it off.
No. One of the things I recently went through, I think it was maybe Halloween a couple of years ago, and I started watching all those again. And I was like, damn, like these first couple episodes with that green mask are terrifying. And one of the things that really stood out to me is I think for like budget cuts, a lot of it was shot in Canada. So all the actors and actresses were Canadian, like doing their best American accent.
Oh, hey,
I never noticed
there
that as a
mask
kid.
on your face there. You got to get it off.
And then we got to go over to sharpshooters to Mr. Bret Hart.
Well,
Man.
we're only 12. We can't have alcohol. It's Canada. You never know.
Well, the movie that I recall as a kid, and I seem to be the only one, David, is driving me nuts.
What is it?
It was kind of like Ninja Turtles, but they weren't turtles. They were like ninja kangaroos. And the movie, it was called Warriors of Virtue. All right.
Okay,
It was
never heard of it.
Okay. It was about these ninja kangaroos. And dude, I wore out this tape when I was a kid. I watched this movie so much, just fascinated by it. Right. It came out in 97, if I remember. So the premise of the story is this like middle school kid. His name's Ryan. He has a bad leg or something. And I'm giving you the, Cliff Notes here. He's on some sports team and everyone's making fun of him because he's not as athletic as the other kids. This catastrophic thing happens. I think this pipe burst or something. And he winds up in what was it? I think it was like I think he falls into this water, whatever it is, and then he wakes up in this strange lake, and he's in a world, and a bunch of just wildness ensues with these karate kangaroos. And it even teaches you good things like to never give up and, push beyond your physical limits, because he had a bad leg in the real world, but when he lands in this strange world, it's completely healthy, right? So he like wakes up, he's all healed. The movie's still dope to me. I even remember visiting, what was it? 5280s, a totally awesome shop here in Denver, this really cool retro shop. And they had all 4 of the Warriors of Virtue, the karate kangaroos, but the price
so it does
is
exist.
a little bit too steep for my wallet on that day. But if I go back and they're still there, I'm definitely going to grab them. But yeah, I always love this movie.
Never seen
whenever
it.
I bring it up, see, my best friend's never even seen. Next time you come out to visit, I'm showing you.
You never even told me about it because you probably weren't sure.
I got it on my stream drive. So
Okay.
next time you're here, I'm making you watch it.
All right, I'm in.
I don't exactly recall the entire premise and the name of all the characters and stuff. I was trying to read the notes that I came up with that I could recall. But yeah, I always loved it. And for some reason, anybody that I talk to that's our age, they're like, what the hell are you karate kangaroos? What are you talking about? Like, are you high? Like, no, this is a real movie. And I loved it when I was a kid. I think I even like watched it again just a few years ago because I'm like, oh, that's right. I loved this. You know what I mean? But yeah, I want to know if you're hearing this, let me know in the comment section. Like, do you remember the Warriors of Virtue? Because I seem to be the only person that knows that this movie exists.
Man,
strangely,
you're gonna have to put me on game.
I got you, bro.
I went down the Goosebumps rabbit hole just while you got started on that.
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode? And I'll jog your memory a little bit. Welcome to Camp Nightmare. Does that ring a bell?
I remember the name. Absolutely.
Okay. This was the episode where eventually you figure out like the counselors are lying to the kids about some beast. Like, oh, the kid went in the woods and like the beast ate him. But then slowly but surely the campers are like, wait a minute. All my friends are gone. I think this is a cannibal camp.
That's right. Dude, this stuff is
a
wild.
Kids show? Get out of here,
Wild,
dude.
bro.
So I'm like,
Golly.
I'm like reading these notes and I'm like, oh. And then they're sitting there in the cafeteria like eating and they're like, Billy's gone. Wait, Billy didn't come back. And they're like, oh my God, I'm eating Billy.
Oh my good. Dude, I absolutely remember it now that you're like telling me the premise and everything. And dude, that had kids everywhere terrified to go to like stay over like summer camp, just petrified.
At the height of me going to summer camp, like up in Maine, dude. And Maine is one of the most terrifying places to go to overnight camp because of movies, shows like this. And like Friday the 13th is based on a lake in Maine.
Crystal Lake, man.
So you're like, man, I got to go somewhere at night. I got to leave the cabin. Man, I'm next. This isn't fun.
Man, so many good ones, dude. Goosebumps was so good. Are You Afraid of the Dark was super good. I like that one too.
Book fair, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. I brought this up. I was talking to this girl and I sent her a meme about, oh man, I got $20. I'm about to go and clean up at the book fair, the Scholastic book fair. And she's like, what was that? And I was like, man, is she too young for me? Maybe
too young, dog. If she don't know the Scholastic book fair and how lit it was, she's too young for you, dog. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
I'm like, I'm about to get that yellow Lamborghini poster. I'm going to get 3 Goosebumps, a pencil, an eraser case. Man, I'm like, that was the best day of the school year.
Yeah, if your parents had money, mine didn't, so I never really got anything from the Scholastic book fair. I would just, watch my friends leave with like the dopest erasers and cool posters and like the R.L. Stine, Goosebumps books, and I'm just like, man,
is there
one day?
Well, dude, when you get your house, you'll just get a whole library with the complete collection, R.L. Stine.
And they'll just sit there because I'll never actually read them. It was more just like,
it was never about reading
if you have it, you're cool. And you would always like have it on display that you had it. Like it wouldn't be in your book bag.
No.
It would be in your hands.
Yeah.
You're just casually walking down the hall with your bag on and you're just kind of, showing off the book. It's like, damn, man, he's really got it going. The girls must love him, man. He's got he's got that latest Goosebumps, bro.
Because the cover wasn't just it was like tactile. The cover had
it was like embossed. Yeah.
It had Goosebumps.
Folks.
So but if you've been keeping up with, like I have, again, NBA Instagram, do you ever see the carousel posts where LeBron will be on like page 1 of a book? And it's like 10 posts of 10 different books, and he's always on page 1. Is LeBron doing what we used to do with Goosebumps books?
Is he just like flexing to showing off that he has the book?
I mean, like he's doing the like entrance where they film them walking in, and I'm like, bro, you're not reading and walking. Like, get out of here.
No, that is not dangerous. I mean, that is too dangerous.
It's the fake flex. I was like, bro, you're always on page 1 for the photo. Just open to any other part of the book,
Yeah, I mean, if, the first post, you're on page 1, the second post, it's a new book, but you're on the last page. It's like, damn, this guy's just flying through these things. But, immediately after the picture, he just put the sucker back on the shelf and said, all right, we're good. Post it. Send it.
Look at LeBron's locker. It's full of books. Does he read them? I mean, look at the photos. He's always on page 1.
Yeah. I think LeBron James gets a lot of like, and we're poking fun here, but I think LeBron gets a lot of like unnecessary hate sometimes. And people love to bring up the Jordan LeBron debate and just like they beat it to death, especially on TikTok. Like I can't escape it.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't get it, man. There's something about celebrity in this country where as fast as the public wants to lift you up and make you that mega superstar, boy, do they want to tear you down even faster. And it's messed up.
It is. There's a difference between when I say, man, I hate LeBron. It's only because he's not on the Celtics.
Right.
Because if he was on the Celtics, I'm like, that's my guy.
He's a rival player.
That's why I'm saying that. It's not because I don't think he's good, because clearly I think he's the best player in the world. I'm just like, why do we got to play that guy? I hate that guy because he always beats my team. That's like why I'd say that.
Yeah, when I would always say, damn Eli Manning, I hate him so much. And it was only because he was a Manning and he was on the Giants and we would play them twice a year. And man,
I'm not on your team, man.
Yeah. But there's a lot of like real hate out there that I see for LeBron James. And then of course you have your contingent of people that will just defend him until the end of time with the whole Jordan debate. But it's a weird thing, man.
Yeah.
I really wonder why people do that. And we've seen it happen with celebrities over and over again. It's like, okay, we're really going to get behind them. We want them to be like the next big thing. And then once they get there, It's kind of like it's not cool anymore. It's almost like that person when Dave, when you tell them that you're a big fan of a certain artist and they're like, yeah, I used to listen to them before they sold out. Before they went all mainstream on me.
I've got like all their mixtapes, but whatever.
I like their earlier stuff, not this garbage they're doing. It's like, come on, man. Like I can recall when 50 Cent, it just like blew up while I was in, high school. And I was first exposed to him because of that song Wangsta that was on 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And we'd be talking about him in school. And some of the older kids would kind of be like, oh yeah, I've been listening to him for years. How did you not know about him? I had this XYZ mixtape that, he was on a track that was featured by, so-and-so DJ and this artist. And I'm like, well, I'm just hearing about him now. So I think it's dope. But they always had to try to have that
the one-upsmanship.
That like looking down at, their nose, that arrogance about like,
you plebeians.
I knew about it before, you peasant.
Yeah.
It's like, golly, man. Like I thought we're just talking about hip hop here. Like this isn't a competition, bro.
Dude, it's with some people, as we know, it's always a competition. They don't want you to be doing better than you. It's like, hey, Jeff, I want you to be doing great. Do great. Not better than me, champ. Not better than me.
You know what? One of the things that really grinds my gears, that really chaps my ass, Dave, if I can be honest with you.
Hit me.
It's when, and I'm sure folks listening to this can relate, it's when people will watch your stories, but they never interact with your content and your videos and pictures that you post. Nothing drives me more insane than that. And it's so messed up, and it goes to your point. Like this whole talk we're having right now is, people want to build you up, but then, we don't want you to get too far, so I'm going to stop supporting you. It's like if I see that Dave put something in his story to share it from a post, I'm tapping on it and I'm going there and I'm leaving him a comment. And it's like that with a lot of people. But dude, how can you have 400 people watching your story, but your new video that you busted your butt on has 13 likes and a comment from mom, and that's it? I'm like, what?
That's trash.
Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that comes from like a deeper place, or do you think people are just like they just feel like they don't have the time?
I was watching another random Instagram clip, as I do, and this person said to be wary of folks kind of like this, that watch what you do and they like are focused on what you're doing, but they're never interacting with you. Basically exactly what you just said. Be wary of them. Those are not necessarily your friends. Now, some people, they're just stopping by. They're scrolling through, whatever. You've never interacted with them in your life, but it's the people who have been in your life then aren't in your life anymore. And now the only way you know that they're interacting is they're watching, seeing what you do. And like just the other day, somebody asked me, oh, where are you going? Well, what are you going to do there? And I'm like, why are you asking me that?
Yeah, why do you all of a sudden want to know? Why are you suddenly interested, right?
You didn't care about all this other stuff I was doing. Like there wasn't even like a golf clap for me doing something that was like actually extraordinary. But now you're like, oh, see, I know Dave is in video and I know Dave does this and that, and he must know something I don't. Maybe, just maybe I can pull a few strings and get him to spill a little bit about what he's doing, because maybe it'll give me an advantage in my industry. So it's a compliment, because it's like, I'm good at what I do. So if you can get some info out of me, it's going to help you. But at the same time, just be straight up and ask me the question you want to ask me. Like when I talk to you, yo, Jeff, I can't get my mixes to sound clean and stay under. Like, what am I not doing?
Right.
Because that's me admitting, like, dude, I just don't know. And I have a feeling you might know.
And seriously, why is it wrong not to know an answer? Like I've always been told ever since school, like, it's okay not to know. Just say, look, you know what? I'm not sure, but I'm going to go try and find out for you. I think that's even way more admirable than just like trying to BS your way through something that you don't actually know anything about.
And it's worse. Like the social media exacerbates human behavior. It's not bad in and of itself. It's how it's used. And so people who are just watching you and not asking, it's creating a bad behavior of they don't feel like they can ask you because their ego's getting in the way because it's going to prove they don't know. Yo, we already don't know a bunch of stuff about all the time. There's so much stuff I don't know. I don't even know about. So just to ask or don't.
Yeah, it just makes me nuts. It's like even some people that are super close to both of us will like, I don't ever hear from them. You know, I have to text them first.
Every time. Yeah. Even if you've been left on read on a message, you're like, you couldn't just respond to this little thing. Like I let you go all day because I just didn't get to it about the Tony Stark thing, which is totally a throwaway comment. But I still was like, all right, if we're going to start talking again, let me address that so I can I answered it and let's keep going. But some people will just not. And then I know you're about to say this. Then the person will just dive into whatever is on their mind, having not even acknowledged all this time went by and that they didn't even answer some serious question you asked them.
Yeah, it's like we're not even in the same thread. Like a new one just started. It makes me nuts. And all the while, they're watching my stories and they're seeing my stuff, but they're not supporting it. Like maybe it's that they're not supporting it as much as they used to. You know, right. Because some of these people used to way back when this was first all starting for me. But I think as you get to a certain level in somebody's mind, it's almost as if, oh, wait a minute. This is they kind of think in their mind he's in the spot that I'm supposed to be in. So I'm gonna keep an eye on him, you know, because I don't want him or her doing, too much better than me, but I'm not going to support him anymore. I'm just going to watch their stuff.
They want to make sure. All right, check on that. Make sure they stay right where they're at. Nothing more. They can go a little down, but not up.
One of the things that I'm really contemplating even bringing up here is something that I sent you a screenshot this week.
Yeah.
Of a friend of ours that we've had since the 90s, who randomly, I had no idea that this person ever unfollowed me.
No, let's talk about it. We can cut it, but let's talk about it.
You sure?
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. We might cut it, but this might be good for other people to hear.
Well, I think it's kind of important because it's in that same realm of people are watching your stuff. And now that I put two and two together, this person wasn't watching my stuff anymore. I'm like, oh, well, maybe they're just completely cutting me off, Right. But then it's like I post a new video and it's like, liked by this person, liked by that person. And then so-and-so has just followed you.
Because that's the thing about following. If you unfollow and you follow back, there's a notification.
Exactly. And I'm like, wait, what? Screenshot. I bust out the highlighter. I circle it and I text it to Dave. And I'm like, bro, I'm about to lose my mind. Are you kidding me? And I don't know this person's side of the story. And it's so tough. I'm not going to mention their name, but I don't exactly know this person's side of the story, but I'm just like, when did it become wrong to just cheer for your friends to be successful?
Man.
Why? Never once. Even when you were working your last gig down south and we barely spoke we used to back in the day. We
saw each other once in a couple of years.
Yeah, I never once was like, nah, screw him. I don't want Dave to be successful. No, the entire time I was rooting you on. I wanted you to make money. I wanted you to get more notoriety and more followers and just be successful. And it's like, why don't people want that for their friends anymore? I can't wrap my head around it. And I'm glad that we're actually talking about it because I think it's a super common thing that a lot of people deal with, and maybe they don't really even understand the extent of it yet. They're kind of just like, as I'm kind of getting more and more and like working more and more hard, and things are starting to pay off more and more, it's almost like my friends are kind of leaving me behind. But I think you got to change the way you think about that, because it's almost like you're leaving them behind, and you're not choosing to. They're just choosing not to come with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking right now as you're saying that, you can apply it to all my friends who have kids and are married. I'm on the flip side of it. I'm on the side where this other person is. I could act mad, isolated and jealous and like be standoffish, or congratulate them and enjoy the success of their expanded families and ask about things and be interested. I had this weird epiphany today, and maybe it's very common sense, but everyone is interesting if you take an interest in them.
Wow.
So if you take an interest in someone, automatically they're interesting. They don't have to be innately like, you founded a company and you're on the radio and you do film. Like, everybody has a cool story, but if you're not interested in asking, you'll never know what it is. So to you, they'll always be who you think they are, which is only your own dumb perspective if you haven't asked. So back to your point, though, if I'm on that side and I'm getting all salty at my friends because they've quote unquote left and moved on, then I'm just being negative about it. I'm not seeing it as a positive. Like, that's so great that they're living out their goals and dreams, and it should inspire me to say, hey, do I want that for myself? Maybe I do, but maybe I don't. And if I don't, I can still be stoked that their success is family. Their success is this job, this promotion. There's many things that can be someone's success. For you and me right now, it's very career focused. And so for other people, creatively and not creatively, it could be career focused. And if somebody's trying to just like, it's not even about them actively dragging you down. It's about knowing that at one point they supported you, and then 1 minute they bail and they don't tell you why. They leave you hanging. Maybe they've left you, like I was recently just left on red on a text from someone who I was like, I thought we had history and trust and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, never expected to just be cut off and then unfollowed.
Jeez,
like,
man.
So at first you're like, wow, that sucks. But then you think, you know what? Yes, it sucks, but maybe and probably for this other person, that's their way of being mentally healthy. I don't know why, but maybe it's got to be something for them that's going on, that it's better that they're distant from you for whatever reason. So I just say, I accept that that's kind of what God has laid out. I accept that this is the situation. And as long as I know I can sleep at night knowing I did everything I could do, then I'm good. And I really turn over all the rocks and make sure like nothing is misconstrued. I even like reached out, talked to family members. Hey, I want to make sure that we're cool. Like, I still have no ill will against this person, but they just kind of bailed. And I just didn't know what to think about it. And I'm sure you're kind of feeling the same way. Like, yo, what happened? I thought we were just like that. I thought we were tight.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. And tell me if this is stupid of me, and be honest, because I think we're getting to a point now in our conversations with this podcast where I think the show prep helps us a lot, but when we just get flowing and start talking about something that we're passionate about, like that's when I think our best conversation comes out. And quite frankly, like this has been the best part of our show. So tell me if I'm stupid. And with everything you just said, I still will continue to support this person no matter what.
It's not stupid, because that's the same way I feel about the person I'm talking about. If they were in dire straits, if they were up a creek without a paddle, I would immediately help, just because it's just what I do. It's just what we do. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just, that's how I'm wired. I don't take it personal. There's a lot of stuff I probably should take personal. Most people would. I just don't. Because I just know if there's something I can do to help and I'm able to without putting myself out, I will. So it's not wrong for you to think that. Because I know in your nature, you're always saying, dude, anytime you need a place to crash, you come to my place. I've done it before. I lived with you for months on your couch, bro.
Well, dude, that's just because you've done so much for me. You've taught me so much. You've given me so much advice. You know, you literally drove me from Portland, Maine to Nashville, Tennessee in a box truck. You helped me pack everything. Like, never in my mind have I ever doubted that you wouldn't be there for me. That's why I always over communicate. Like, bro, if this new venture that you're going on, if by some strange happenstance it doesn't work out, you can just come stay with me. Now, obviously, I have full confidence in you, but I'm just putting it out there. Hey, if you need help, if you need a place to go, if you need this, if you need that, let me know, because most of our lives, I've never been in a position to where I could help you out like I can now.
Right.
I could help you out in different ways, sure, but it's just no matter what, man, whether we do the show for 10 years or just 10 episodes, just know that I always get your back.
My dog, bro. Exactly, dude. And I know that and I accept it. It's important to accept that. And I think you and me are getting what we're getting after is I think sometimes we so badly want that other person to treat us the same way. And also we want them to accept our help when, as you and me both know this, you can only...
what is the saying? You can only lead the horse to the water. You can't make it drink.
Yeah, it's one. Yeah, but it's I can't help anyone until they're ready to help themselves. So as much as we want to add help and reach out and, some people need to get burned again. Some people are just attracted to the wrong kind of person in every kind of relationship. And they have to learn the hard way. We've both learned a lot of stuff the hard way. But now I'm like, you know what? Is there another way I can figure out this is bad? Can I look at a different example? That's, me being becoming an old head, here at 36. I'm saying, okay, I went through that. I don't want to go through that again. So let me just back up and watch from the sideline. So in my own situation, similar to yours, I just say, hey, the door's open. If this other person wants to come back, I'll welcome them back. I don't have any ill will. But clearly, this has nothing to do with me, which is what I always try to express to you about who you're talking about. It's this isn't about you. It's something with that person is off. And until they can fix it, they won't even be able to come to you and say, yo, I realized that you probably thought this was messed up and this and this and this, and I'm sorry. They're very far away from that.
I think anybody hearing this right now probably has a friend in their life that this exact thing is happening to them right now, or if it hasn't yet, trust us, it is going to. It is absolutely going to. But let's put a wrap on this bromance real quick.
Man,
and
we got deep. It was good.
We did. Whew, we got a little bit deep there. I wanted to round out today's show. And there's something about me that a lot of people don't really know. And I wanted to share the story of how
please.
My first real DJ job. You might see it at the bottom of our notes here.
All right. Tell us a story.
All right, Dave, over on the main stage right now, it's Corvette. Look at those headlights.
Dude, what's with the voice? Why did we both just go into that voice? Are we teasing something out here?
Well, I got my start in DJing when I moved back from California. I did an odd job. And then eventually I landed a gig, and this was on my resume when I got my job in Nashville. So I don't hide it. But
Yo,
I had a job as an MC at a strip club in Portland, Maine.
this man has got me into that place for free so many times, by the way.
Well, they would have free lunch Friday, bro. They'd have like tots and chicken tenders and like all the good stuff.
It was pretty good, I gotta say.
It was such an interesting time in my life. You know, I was in my, gosh, I want to say I was just getting into my like mid 20s. This is before I even started like mixing, like DJing, you know? And I needed a job so bad. I had no idea what I wanted to really do with my life other than music, but I needed to make some cash, you know? I was strangely enough, I was living with my sister in Portland. And I was renting out a room from her because one of her roommates had bailed on her. And yeah, I get this gig and I crap you not. I go in there and I interview and I fill out all the stuff. And
how much paperwork is involved with being a strip club DJ? People want to know, probably.
There was actually a lot more than I expected. I'll be honest with you.
See?
Yeah. So, you know, I fill out all that stuff, the application and the background stuff. And then they have to know, like, can you actually do this, you know? And I'm like, well, I don't know. But then they bring me into the booth and they have virtual DJ. And I had experienced that with you out in California. So I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. And I already had like a pretty good library of music, you know? And the main thing they wanted to know before they hired me, and this was like the say all end all. If I answered this question wrong, I wasn't getting the gig. He says, as long as we're on the same page and you're not going to be in all the girls, you got the job.
Dude, that was it.
Yeah, so I shook his hand and I showed up to work the next day for my first shift.
Oh my God, bro.
And I was doing what they called swing shift. And let me explain to you what that is. I wasn't getting the prime time nights.
Y'all are getting an education right now.
This went to a guy who had been there for like 2 decades. He was super good at it. And so I was doing like weeknights. And then I was also doing these like Sunday shifts, which were like 13-hour days. It was nuts. Dang. It was like two different rosters of girls. I would get there at 3 in the afternoon, and then once I finally got home, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, you know. But it was such a wild time, dude, and it was super cool because I'm in my mid-20s and all my friends think, bro, you got like the coolest job ever, you know.
I did think you had the coolest job ever.
I can't believe you get to do this. And it was super cool for like 6 months, and then you just become immune to it.
Yeah,
you just become immune to it, and you're like, are you gonna tip me well or not? If you don't, you're dancing to whatever I want you to dance to.
Man,
and a lot of those times, it was coincidentally a topic earlier in the show. It was something from Justin Bieber because I just wanted to hear it. So I would make girls dance to like "Never Say Never."
It's like, yo, this isn't hot. This isn't sexy.
Yeah, but dude, I was there maybe a year and a half, and there was a lot of like bumping heads with management because a lot of these girls wanted to dance to like certain stuff, but the club hated it. But in order for me to make good tips, I had to play obviously what the girls wanted, but it was the exact opposite of what the club wanted. So every time I did, I would get a talking to. And it got to a point where they said, all right, just to try to like make me leave, it was, we're going to have you keep a log of every song you play during your entire shift, right? It's going to be the name, the artist, the genre, and how long it was.
Jeez.
And I was like, this is just stupid. Like, what am I doing here? Like, this isn't like a serious career, you know? But I did it. And I took it one step further and I color coded everything and I printed it out and I handed it in. And they're like, you're such a smart ass.
You're like, I'm good at it though, right?
Yeah. And I think ultimately, I got some wild stories.
I know you do. Down the road, day. We're going to get into them. It might take a little while.
Wild stuff. But as I kind of got longer, you know, had a longer experience there, started just to like see some just really questionable stuff, and I'm a straight edge guy. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. So even being mixed up in that environment was a little unsettling anyhow. But I just always tried to do a good job, and I loved the music and doing light shows, and I got to really put on that voice, And,
dude, that's pretty great.
and it's so forced, and I'm trying so hard, but that's just how they all sounded. So that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And eventually just a bunch of shady stuff. Eventually I linked up with your brother Ryan and our friend Max, and they had started 207 Nightlife. And I was like, I had become an actual DJ. And I would start calling out of my Saturday morning shift, and eventually they're like, hey, it's you should go. Like you don't have time for this place anymore. And that was how I got out. But
found something else.
Yes, I did. And then that led to the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing. So the point of this whole story is it doesn't matter where you start per se. And it might not even matter where you are right now. It matters where you want to go. I think that's the most admirable thing, because when I was there, it wasn't like, oh, well, I'm set. Like this is going to be great in 10, 20 years.
Well, I'm glad you didn't think that.
No, I had much bigger desires, but a mentor of mine, Rob Steele, always told me, and this is something I think he got from his parents, was sometimes you got to do what you got to do before you get to do what you want to do. So I'm going to leave you with that.
Keeping it simple, man. That's why we have you on every week.
Just dropping nuggets, bro. Nuggets of knowledge.
And now, oh man, I'm ready to ask you stories about that. But we got lots of episodes to do that.
We do. Yeah. And, man, there's some stuff that I'm certainly not even proud of, but maybe we'll get into it on a later date. Thank you so much for listening to Hangin' with Homie. For Dave, I'm JR. We'll catch you next week. And remember, it's cool to be you. Peace out.